It's pretty standard. Then I'll say a prayer. It's 1 o'clock now, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with Ed. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we come to you, Lord, as commissioners of Brown County and the people of Brown County, doing our best, Lord, to do good things for the citizens who call Brown County home. Father, guide our heads, our hearts, our minds, and our mouths as we seek to be productive in the business we conduct in this room. Father, with your help, we cannot fail. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, welcome everybody. It's not often we have people in here, so this is new, but welcome. Glad you're here. The first thing we have on our agenda is county personnel or public comment. And if there is any, I don't think there is. We're just going to skip that. But what I normally do is say, if you have something to say and we're still in session, just come on down. And whenever we have time, we'll make time for you. But we have the Hiawatha City Commission here in force, and we have the superintendent of schools. And I imagine you want to talk about RHID, so we'll just do that. Does anybody have anything they want to say to us or questions, or how do we want to roll? Pretty informal setting in here.
I guess from the city's perspective, maybe you want to come on.
You can if you'd like. Sure.
And from the city's perspective, maybe I'd like to know if anybody has any specific questions, any specific information that I can help with, anything like that. I just really more questions from me. I don't have any questions from the county. I don't think anybody I know does, but I'm just here to answer any questions that you all may have.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
You want to start? I can start.
Go ahead.
Yes, we have questions. And I know that we have a pretty good relationship where you can call me or I can call you. We've been talking. But I think I'll just get this over with at first. I think the frustration on our side is we feel like this is given to us now with a 30-day time period. And, I almost feel like Caesar with gladiators, like thumbs up or thumbs down. And I hate because this is not our project, meaning we haven't been part of it. We don't understand a lot of it, but yet 30 days starts Monday or last Monday, I think. And we have to let you guys know if we think it's something we want to vote for or not. I know the school board has to do the same thing. So I think there's a little bit of frustration there because we feel like, and you got to understand, Brett, I know I can speak for the commissioners, but we're getting hammered with phone calls about this. And I've tried to be as objective as possible. I've just said, I don't know how we'll react to it because we haven't had a meeting yet since Monday night to talk to each other and start like literally listing questions or concerns. I started making questions going through the contract, just basically to prepare. So when the other two commissioners get their questions, we could say, well, what about this? What about that? We're asked to participate in something where we have a percentage of the mills we would forego, and it's 25 years. That's a long time. And one of the number one things I get people mad at when they call is, why is it 25 years? And I just tell them, I don't know. I did go through and I've studied RHID a little bit now, and I do know that you have the option to go to 25 years. Sure. So when somebody asks now, I say, well, that was one of the options. Okay. So we're just in the beginning phase of trying to make reasonable decisions because none of us are anti-development. We need development in this county. We need people coming in. We need families moving in. We need buildings being built and infrastructure and all that. So it's not like we're sitting here going, we don't want that. It's the fact that there's a lot of questions that are not answered as of yet. When you and Commissioner Middendorf came here probably 3 months ago, I
Mhm.
specifically, I gave you like 6 questions and said, hey, can you answer this for us? And you said you'd get back to us, and those questions really never came back to the commission as of yet.
Mhm.
So you can understand, we're kind of in the dark.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this is the meeting where I start going through all my questions here at the meeting, because I'm afraid that we'll be here too long. I think what we should do is the commissioners should get some questions together and get them back to you so you guys can answer them. A lot of them you'll probably answer like that. But there's questions in here. My background was, this, I read contracts for a living. I entered into projects and signed my name on a dotted line where if I wasn't done by a certain date, we paid penalties.
Mhm.
And so I'm very nervous anytime I start reading things that say things that make no sense. For instance, this project's supposed to be done by second quarter of 2027. I don't know how in the world infrastructure, concrete, streets, homes built, electrical, all that stuff can be done. Maybe that's not a hard deadline, but the information you sent says it is.
Yeah.
I also believe that if it's not completed in 2027, you guys lose the grant. And I was told it was 600,000. Now it says 650 on the one thing. And so my question is, if this guy loses that grant, does he finish the project? Those are kind of questions. And I'm not trying to sit here and go, tell me this, and this. We're coming up with a list of questions right now. A lot of them may be just simple answers, and that's wonderful. But you can understand from our point, we don't want to just sign on something that we don't clearly understand. And I clearly do not understand how we can commit to something being done. Basically, the winter months you lose, really, on a lot of stuff, unless your stick frame is up and you got your roofs up and all that. But basically he has to hit it hard and be done by the middle of the year. That's as a subcontractor, I'd say, I can't bid the job. We can't, because all it takes is a few things to not go the way, and you can't get your work in. So those are some of the things we're seeing. And then also we wanted to determine exactly when we did this NRP plan, there were people that want it longer, and we were like, no, we can't go 15, 20 years. It's 10 years is long enough. So a lot of people are upset that this goes 25. And my one question is if it goes to 25 years, I realize you guys put a chart in there that showed an escalation of like 4% property values. And that's good. I'm glad that's in there. But if the amount that he's requesting on RHID gets met earlier than 25, does it stop? Meaning, that property could be worth twice what it's valued at right now in 10 years.
Right.
And so that means there'd be a lot more taxes being paid in. And does that mean he gets a certain amount and no more, not a dollar more? Those are the kind of questions that we have.
Okay.
Another thing was, it's kind of vague on the utilities. It says that the city's responsible for all necessary infrastructure, right? Well, I'd strike that in the contract, because I'd say, whoa, define what necessary infrastructure is. For instance, who's putting in the electrical underground? Who's putting in the communication fiber underground? Who's putting in the gas lines underground? All those kind of things that I've been a part of, where projects just go totally south because somebody's going, no, the electricians are digging the trench and we're putting our trench. It's just, if it's not clearly defined, it can cause big problems. And so those are the kind of things we're listing. I know these gentlemen have the same questions, and would like to do that and then get them to you in a timely manner, and then have you guys, kind of answer some of these things. Because I see some holes in the way it's written right now. And I'm nervous that it says in there that the contractor, upon his request, you guys will turn over basically the land to him. And the projects that I've been involved with in the past, usually there was a milestone that had to be met before ownership would get turned over. And that prevented a guy from going, okay, it's my ground. By the way, I'm broke. The LLC's broke and we're not finishing. And now he owns 3 acres in Hiawatha that he can do whatever he wants with whenever he wants. So those are all things that are going through my mind, and I've made a list on. And again, I appreciate you coming over here. And we don't want to be the guys going, we think the project can go forward. I hate that. I hate being in this position. Right. In fact, I hope the school board votes before we do, and then maybe we don't even have to vote. Anyways, that's basically, I've said enough. There's a number of things in here contractually that don't jive, but you might be able to answer them in 10 minutes after we give you the questions, and that's great.
I was gonna add in this 3.3 under the funding, the sentence that says if any RHID funding is not specifically used for such improvements, the city may expend such fund for any other eligible improvement within the district per Kansas statute. I mean, to tie into what Richard just said, there seems pretty open-ended. And what does that actually mean? And again, does that mean if the property value is increased, is the RHID limited? Is it set in stone today when when someone signs on that, you're only gonna get this 1.18 million? Or if the value's increased, I would assume the taxable receipts would increase, and then as RHID, does it become 1.6? I mean, you just don't know.
Okay.
But that's pretty open-ended. There's another part in here too, where it says, I think you mentioned something on the scheduling. I mean, construction of improvements in the city shall commence no later than August 3rd of 2026. I mean, what exactly does that mean? I mean, we're still in the 30-day window here. Does things need to start happening next Monday?
So, I mean, by contract, yes. And so what we've done, so the city has to be cautious. Because, we're into this right now we have it calculated that we're going to be into this for about $154,000. As far as like water system, sewer system, that's our portion of it. And so I have to be cautious because there's still a lot of unknowns about the RHID project itself. And so what I did, I said, okay, well, if we need to contractually start, what can we do in that time period without going out and I don't want to, where this could all fall apart for the city is if we're going out and I bought sewer pipe, water pipe, lift stations, everything that we needed, spent all that money, and then, something happens and the project doesn't move forward. We don't really want to have a sewer system, a water system in land that can still be farmed, at that point. And so what we've done, because like I said, I don't know what's going to happen with the RHID. The RHID is very important for the funding of the project. It's all part of the developer's financing structure. And so without that RHID moving forward, I don't know that the project does move forward. So what I've done is I've got enough water pipe to go to about the middle of the soccer fields. And that way we actually do commence those things. It gives a time for that RHID to come through. There is probably one more thing that I do need to order, which is just sanitary sewer manholes. Those are typically the longest lead time thing that we have here. A lot of the items that we have, there's not a lot of lead time on it. A lot of it's very available very quickly. But I've been cautious about ordering those things just because there's still unknowns on my side. I don't know whether that RHID, I've been pretty conservative as far as how I move forward.
So Brad, when you say that I'm still not sure exactly how the RHID process works.
Well,
that doesn't build a lot of confidence on this side of the desk. And I'm not trying to be mean, but we're talking $1 million here.
right.
And if I was you, I wouldn't lay in supplies for a project if you don't have everything. I mean, surely there's an order to this where we would sign things. I mean, so again, without being too persnickety, we saw you and Commissioner Middendorf in April, May, somewhere in there. And we had several questions. And when I remember that process at that time, you'd had some sort of informal public meeting maybe, and the crowd kind of walked you back down. We shot high and the crowd said, and the numbers went down to the point that maybe the RHID itself was even in question. And certainly it was going to be at a lower dollar amount. So then if we fast forward 6 weeks, 3 months, whatever the time period was, now we're $1 million. And, we didn't even have a chance to have any input, I guess.
Right. And so when we met, we still, at that point, the city was still looking at taking on the cost of the street at that point, which is going to cause the city to need to take out a bond for that. And so what we did in the meantime since then is the reason that the RHID is even still relevant, it's not really relevant for the city. We're using other funds for what we're doing. We're not taking out a bond to do what we're doing. The developer is going to have to take on that expense. And in order for them to take on that expense as far as the street, goes constructing the street, they're going to need a source of income that keeps the rent in a range that the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation is comfortable with. And so that's why that RHID is still relevant to that. And so really a lot of the question was, if we build a street, if we put in the system and then something happens, all of a sudden our RHID isn't going to be enough because there's no buildings there. What's the rest of the city at that point? And so what I worked on from that time on, just in negotiating with the developer, was getting our risk for the city down to where the performance of the RHID was really not something that it was more the developer's concern than it was the city's concern. And so that's kind of the direction that we took from our first meeting. I know that was one of the questions of what was the risk to the city at that point. And so that's the direction that we went.
Bill? That's still a lot of questions, but good.
So, if I just walk through this real quick, just to put it, because the developer's coming in, the city's gonna give them the property to build on. Okay,
That's correct, yes.
Heffid is going to, or already has paid their architectural fees.
For the drawings, yes.
Okay, you know how much that was?
14,000, somewhere around there, I believe.
So developer comes in, he gets free ground, he doesn't pay for his architectural drawings. The city says, we'll pay for, according to the own verbiage, all the necessary infrastructure. So that's taxpayers. And then in the RHID eligible cost column, he also writes in there, because when I see everything in the RHID eligible cost column goes back to him, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So when I'm putting a bid together and I write a bunch of bid items in and I've got all these costs that I want to hide, because I don't want people to be able to say, you know what, he's got a lot of costs in there, so let's pull that from the contract. I read things like general conditions, 65,000. What is the definition of general conditions?
I don't know what that definition is. All I know is that from the RHID standpoint, everything that he has to be RHID eligible, which actually has to go through the state of Kansas.
Right.
They have to submit that to us.
So will he have to, at that time, will he have to break out general conditions?
He will, yes.
Okay.
If it's something he can't hide anything in that process, because the state won't allow payment to things that aren't allowed in that process.
Okay, so the other thing I see there and I go, wow, this is awesome. I wish I was the contractor, because the taxpayers are gonna give them $78,000 for project management. Project management is always borne by the contractor.
Mhm.
So he's sitting here going, I'm not gonna pay for architectural drawings, I'm not gonna pay for the ground, I'm not gonna pay for my project manager, or I am gonna get paid for it. I'm not gonna pay for general conditions. I'm not gonna pay 51,000 in contingencies. Again, it's like, what is contingencies? That could be a new truck. And I've seen it many, many times where projects put money into it to buy equipment for that project. Happens all the time. So I read contingencies and I go, and I've been on this side of the desk where owners are just beating me up because I've got all these bid items and I'm having to sit there and scramble. But that makes me nervous. But the number one thing is we're paying his interest on his loan for him to come in and build property that he will retain ownership of.
Yeah, that's correct. And so in order for him to be able to take on the cost of the street construction, he's gonna have to add that to part of his bank loan. And so I think they have that down as I think the street itself is right around 300,000. I think the number that they're taking a loan out for is 500,000.
Yeah.
Because I believe that part of that is construction grading, things like that. So I don't think the street costs $500,000. I think the street itself costs more like $300,000.
Well, what he has is he has a one line item that's basically lump sum for streets and sidewalks. It's 281,741.
Mhm.
And the first thing, I mean, that should be a really easy number to ascertain because he gives you linear feet.
Yeah,
Right? Pretty simple. My only question is when you go back in and read the contract, it says he provides a street. That could be gravel. That could be AC, asphalt, it could be concrete. Do we have guidelines saying you're providing us a street and it will be an 8-inch thick street with, 6 inches of base rock, or because it just says street? And again, Brett, I know it looks like we're trying to beat you up. We're not. We
It's
just
okay.
want to understand it. If I had written provide electrical system, 281,000, they would have, it'd be like, no, you're gonna break out what kind of
Mhm.
electrical system. So to me, you know, he's got almost $300,000 that the taxpayers are gonna pay him back for a very specific amount of street and curb and gutter. That'd be real easy to go to a few contractors and say, give me a bid for an asphalt and a concrete, how much is it? And then you'd know if 281,741 is a just number. Because again, I played this game. I mean, that's the first place I'd pat it as say, yeah, that's a $380,000 or $400,000 street.
Mhm.
And then the first thing I would do is I'd go and make sure that I put the very minimum that is allowed in the state of Kansas, because I'm not going to give anything more. So those are just some of the things that, because that all makes up $1,018,428 that we're asking the county. You guys are picking up your mill, the cemetery board, the school, they all pick up their portion of it, but the county residents, and I heard from a guy today that said, why do I have to pay part of my taxes for a project in Hiawatha that I have nothing to do with? And I said, well, I don't know, but I mean, again, we all pay in a form because a grant, all the taxpayers, so I'm for stuff, you know, I'm for grants and I'm for getting a leg up to get stuff built. It's just, there's a lot of unknowns in this one that make me a little nervous. And, you know, maybe the developer could answer some of these, like, yeah, I did a 6-inch asphalt street, 2 lips of 3, you know, explain it. But,
Right.
you know, we have contractors in town that could probably whip you up real quick, and you might find out that it's more expensive than what he has in it, and that's great.
And I know that they, in order for them to come up with the numbers that they came up with, they did work with a couple of contractors here in town. I know they talked to Rosenberger as far as the concrete street went. They talked
Okay.
to Kyle Knutson as far as the grading went.
Well, that's awesome, and I hope
And
so
so
if it
that,
goes forward, I hope they use the local guys. That'd be wonderful.
and that's where they're coming up with the numbers that they're talking about. Now, as far as they can't, so how the RHEID would work, and so even if they have a street down for 281,000, but they did something less, they can't be recompensated for something that isn't actual cost.
Okay.
And so it's going to be an actual cost type of a thing, because they're going to have to be able to certify, we spent this money on this eligible cost, and this is the reimbursement that we need. And so that's really the best protection that we have there, as far as how those dollars can be used.
Yeah.
Is just by the state statute itself on what those dollars can be used for.
I understand. I've had to provide, we did a lot of work called force account,
Mhm.
time and material. And if somebody said, we're gonna pay for your project management, guess what? I'd have 2 of my most expensive project managers out there,
Mhm.
and they would legitimately be out there working their butts off every day, and I'd turn in for that. So
Yeah.
it's easy to, you know, if you said, Rich, you gotta spend 78,000 on project management, done, don't worry about it, it'll be done. Contingencies, done.
Sure.
You know, general conditions, tell me the amount I gotta hit, I'll hit it. So I just want to make sure, but
Don't
look, the fact that you guys all showed up over here, everybody appreciates, we love it. We want more of this. We want to be able to come to your meetings, and because we have to, or this county
Yeah.
doesn't work correctly. So I appreciate that, and I
So
know,
this thing's live and on the table. My question for you is, we see several, now I hate to, areas of concern in multiple contracts here, or RHIDs, whatever. Is this thing still negotiable? I mean, is there still time to work on this, or is it pass fail, like his Caesar example? Is it thumbs up or thumbs down?
I mean,
Even the timeline, is the timeline negotiable?
the timeline is actually not negotiable. It's 30 days from when the
No,
published,
the 25 year.
25 years. I mean, that's really kind of a question for the developer themselves. I mean, I sit here and I can't speak for what they're going to be able to, what they can and can't do with their own finances, but there
I'm with
is.
Richard on this thing, and not just,
Mhm.
I've made calls and I've gotten calls. Now, my phone doesn't ring like his does. Everybody's got his number, but I'm 18-1 against this thing.
Mhm.
And the only call I got for it was the call the guy made me, and he's on the Heffenville.
Mhm.
And I expected that. But I mean, to a man, everybody else has been against it. And the primary concern is the length of time.
Mhm.
And then the idea that this sets a precedent for Brown County, that if you want to build something major, come on in, because
we'll give you everything, and then we'll have the taxpayers split it for 25 years. That's what I mean. Is it negotiable? And I mean, I talked to Carrie Folletti was her name
Mhm.
at the Commerce, and she gave me some information,
Sure.
but of course, she's not an attorney, and we read through the statutes together and we find some things that make sense, some others that we have questions on. But then I also, do I understand this correctly, that just because if Hiawatha does it, Brown County and the school board sign off on it, what if, does the state look at this thing and since, I mean, is that good to go, or do they still have a kill vote on it?
I mean,
Yes, no.
everything has to be done in accordance with the state statute. And so really where the state's role in this comes in is in the certification of the costs. And so they're going to be the ones that say yes or no on that. It won't even be the city that does that. It'll be, you have to certify those to the state, kind of like it is when we do some of our bigger projects with water plants, things like that, whether it's USDA or whoever it might be, they actually have to certify those costs.
Mhm.
And that's going to be, and they're going to look at this and make sure that we did this correctly, that it was set up correctly, and really what it is. And so at the end of the day, the county and the school district both have to determine whether this is something that adversely affects either Brown County or USB 415. And so really, at the end of the day, that's the major decision that needs to be made. If you guys think that this adversely affects you or not. And so, I mean, it is, I hate to say it, but it does kind of bring it back to that thumbs up, thumbs down type of a situation. Where if you do determine that it adversely affects you, then it's a thumbs down.
Okay, the only reason, it's 1:26. We have some people in here that are a hard 1:30. There's no way we're gonna get done with this, but I need to respect their time also.
Okay.
So what would you like to do here as a group? Do we need to come back and talk more? I mean, in the back there, does anyone have anything they want to say? We got 3 minutes. Or do we want to just try to get some questions answered and come back? I mean, I don't want to toy people. I don't want to string people along.
Okay.
Look, we haven't been able to talk about this since Monday when we left the meeting, your meeting. We weren't able to go, hey, let's go. What do you think? What do you think? So this would be the first time I'm going to hear from Bill again and from Lucas. And I know they were going to do their own research. I was doing mine. So we have questions. But like I said, a lot of these might be able to be answered pretty quick.
Yeah.
But you understand why we have pause on this? Just like
Sure.
we're nervous
Mhm.
about it because
Yeah, absolutely.
we're getting a lot of calls and it's like, can we talk about county stuff and try to fix that? Right now we're getting people mad at us about a project that we have nothing to do with. Other than we give a thumbs up or thumbs down. It's like, can we punt? Can we make it the school board's problem? Is there a way we can sign something and just show me where to sign? So,
I think that a fair thing to do in the interest of time is for us we can come back to a county commission meeting. You guys, it's every Monday, is that correct?
Well, we won't have one next Monday. It'll be short because we got elections and we got
I understand.
pretty small.
So the second Monday of the month, we can come to a county commission meeting and it allows time for you guys to have questions and hopefully we can get some answers to those.
But then on the city side, I don't want you, if you're laying in supplies for something that may not happen. That August 3rd start date, that's real too.
August 3rd start date is real. I mean, one of the ways that the city did look at this, and I'll just say this, and I'll make this my final statement, was one of the ways that the city did look at this is we do have, 34 acres of ground that is prime for, it's really some of the only area in Hiawatha that we have for residential development, which is why we spent money on engineering to have a concept of what that whole area could look like. Now, that concept can change. We've taken what we have now to final plat, but it doesn't mean that we can't have another idea about what's going on there. But the idea was that we want that area to be residential no matter what we do. And so extending the water main out to where we're at now helps achieve that goal one way or another. And so it's not necessary specifically for this project, although it does support this project.
Sure.
But really what this is about is to support housing.
Okay.
And so I'm comfortable spending the amount of money that we have right now. And if we can get, and if this doesn't happen and we need to pivot and do something else, we have a little bit of an extension there. We have less to do in the future.
It seems like a great area to develop for
Mhm.
homes. I mean, when you look around Hiawatha, there's not a lot of area to develop, so. It seems like it would definitely be interesting to somebody come and build some custom homes there.
And so that was kind of our line of thinking. I'll leave it at that. I know that time's a factor here.
Yeah, it's 1:30. So did we give you enough questions to maybe find some answers to that you guys can work on that and come back to us, or we can come to you, whatever?
I believe so. If you have more questions, could you please submit those to me in writing? That way I don't miss anything. And then I can write anything down as I'm doing it, and my memory is going to fail me, so.
We can, I mean, I think we can. You said you got some written, I got a few, so we'll do.
All right.
We'll email them to you. We'll do it. We'll email them to you this afternoon. We'll just get it together in this meeting and we'll send it that way. Can we do that? Are your questions there?
Yeah, I haven't gone through the whole thing, but yeah, we can get you stuff to start working on.
Some start.
Let's start
Do you-
working on it.
Do you know who's doing the gas or the electrical? Because he's clearly stating he's not.
As far as the city is concerned, we're only doing the water and the sewer.
Okay, so you're gonna have some really nice homes that have no electrical or gas to it. So-
Let me call the developer and I'll nail that down.
Okay. Well, thank you,
Right.
really. And I'm sorry we had to squeeze it down, but
No, it's okay. No, I understand. You have the same constraints that we do at the city, so I understand it.
Okay, all
All
right.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it.
Okay, our 1:30 should be Brandon and the sheriff and then Motorola Solutions. Is that right? Is that what we're gonna talk about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Come on.
And Rob is still on this too. I'm here at the invite. So,
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's a lot of money's.
We have candy to offer too, if you'd like.
you're out
Those those are decent. Okay, so you want to start?
I don't know a whole lot about this as far as, because I wasn't here when this first took place back in September, I believe. But it's for the encrypted, I guess, machine, whatever you want. So it came out of emergency management money when it was done. When Midwest was here, they talked about maybe purchasing that back, or they're doing some kind of credit, or however you want to put it.
You're not talking about the keylogger or the encryption or no way. And I guess it's something you purchased and now you're not sure you really need it.
We did, well, we need it, yeah.
Actually,
Tyson brought this up, that's why I was hoping he was here, he brought it up first to me. And we got on the phone, John was, me and Don was in there, and then we talked to Tyson, and he said there was maybe a chance that they would need this. That you guys would need this.
yeah, we were gonna purchase one, so
Yeah,
we'd be willing to purchase it back. At the full price you paid for it. And what my suggestion was through Tyson was that. We put a credit on the account and let that apply to me, so the dispatch system. No, I mean, the encryption level needed stuff. Yeah, Charlie said. The reason I'm asking that, when we first got into this, and remember right, this kind of was proposed to you guys, when we told things like Tyson said, we can't do that. We then all of a sudden now you can. Let me explain. Okay. In the
Who is
past,
Tyson?
he's his tech.
Okay.
Tyson is one of our sales
Okay.
tech people. And he was responsible for selling it.
That's why Don purchased it for us.
We own one already. However, we use it and loan it to other people. We did not want to have an encryption device that I could hand to you that had somebody else's information. So what we've decided to do is to buy a second one that we will not loan. And we'll keep, and then we need to control who sees those keys and those numbers. But Because it would not be fair for you to have somebody else have your encryption if you don't want them to have it.
Right.
That's why we ended up deciding to buy a second one. And yes, the policy has changed at the cost of what, $9,000,
How much?
about $9,000.
$9,000.
So
Wasn't that about right? Somewhere.
can we back up just a
I
bit?
never
got the invoice, but it was pricey at the time.
We bought this thing in September. We bought this thing, this, what'd you call it, key something?
We called it a key loader.
Key loader. We bought this thing. And just for my benefit, walk us through what this thing does, why we have it, and why what we already own does not work. Or will not meet our
It
needs.
does function, but it does work. That's, a key loader is a device where you have a code. It's like an electronic code
Mhm.
that is programmed into each one of the two-way radios.
Okay,
And only those radios have that code, so nobody else's radio can receive that transmission.
okay,
Think of it as scrambling.
okay,
It encrypts the audio so nobody else can decode it and hear
okay.
it.
Makes sense?
And so again, in the past, we have not done that key loading because we did not want one customer to think that somebody else got their information. So we figured out a way to secure it. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna load the code in, but we're not gonna allow anybody else to borrow it in the future. In
Okay,
other words, we will not, if you ask me to give it to you to use it, I wouldn't give it to you if I don't. But I'll come over and put it in for you. That's not
They
right.
were very good with us, updating.
Mhm.
Our equipment was so outdated, we got ran through the capabilities.
Mhm.
Ernie kept us going, it was supposed to be for the first of the year, wasn't it, Ernie? And then the money didn't come through on that grant till what, March?
Yeah.
So they've been working, getting us all updated, which we won't have to worry about anything for years and years, so
so
we have no issues working with them.
radios have always, and I'm fascinated by them, but they've always, 'cause you guys in law enforcement, the fire department, I mean, you talk radios back and forth and you know what you're doing, but it goes over my head. So the key loader that we have, we just don't need it because you'll encrypt the radios with one that you'll own.
If you keep it, you can certainly encrypt your own radios.
Okay,
But you're not gonna be able to do anybody else. But if we're gonna retain it, the same key loader with your encryption information in it, then no, you don't need it. There was a way
That's
for
what
you to
we're talking
recover the cost and reapply those funds to something else you're gonna need. which
and when you say anybody else, you mean outside of law enforcement, or do you just mean outside of
outside
Brown
of
County?
Brown County.
Any other entity other than us,
Okay,
because there is specific encryption when I take it.
Yeah, there's
And
millions of
it's-
it's virtually impossible.
But in law enforcement-
Mandate that we-
are you different? Do you have a different frequency than say,
Encryption,
yeah, encryption that, I mean, can Brandon hear the law enforcement stuff going back and forth on his radio? I mean, are you tied in? And is
It's
fire
not.
separate too?
and if it's, there's a lot of frequencies we go inside with.
Okay,
Remember we talked about the mobile radios. the
Sure.
ports, which they're down here, by the way, I have the KHPs taken out. So we should pick them up there. But anyway, there's certain ones they can and can't hack. So for us to be able to talk together, they have to be able to communicate within itself. So if there's a talk group that we share, yes, we can communicate. If there isn't a talk group, we can share, we can't.
okay.
So the key encoder or whatever we're talking about, that wasn't needed before the state mandated that we had to have encrypted radios or mandated this type of encrypted radios that we had. That'd be an early question. there.
The type of encryption going forward for public safety nationwide requires the key loader. That's correct.
So before it wasn't required.
Before it wasn't, now it is. Again, you can welcome to keep it. But if you really don't need it and want to recover those funds for something else, we're willing to work with. Either way, we're gonna purchase one. Doesn't matter whether I take yours or I go order a new one, I don't care. We thought, they just put in a new dispatch console system, as you know. And it does require maintenance. We prefer it be on a maintenance contract because of the amount of time and labor. We were willing to take the funds from this and put it towards a protected contract. You would get probably a little over 2 years of maintenance out of it. Which is good.
How much do we normally spend on maintenance?
We usually keep up on contracts with our maintenance contracts, so we didn't have huge.
It's just a fixed cost.
And I brought some figures to give to the sheriff today. We can present those to you at a later date. some budgetary pricing, because I wasn't sure you guys need to know at this meeting.
And I think when Don first brought this up to you guys, he said he wanted it for the sheriff's office, basically, the encryption. If I remember right, so I would have no issues doing that and taking it off on maintenance. If you are all in agreement with it. But I'd just like to make sure that we need to or something quickly to get it done in a,
Sure.
you know, so.
What bill we sent, I just checked with them and it's been paid was $7,557.60. So originally it was 8,100 and something.
We got it down. So, yeah, whatever that bill is, that's the exact amount would be done.
So you guys.
And the only reason it came to us because it's emergency management originally, so.
So you would take that money. And the money goes back to emergency management then?
Well, I guess that's when the emergency management paid for it, came out of emergency management, but it's actually, we don't have maintenance on anything for emergency management for radios. That's what the sheriff's office bought. So that whole transition of money, but he originally bought it from the sheriff's office, so. It was just brought up because we thought emergency management doesn't have a maintenance tab.
I'm gonna look behind you. Is there a wrinkle in taking funds? I mean, even if it was bought for the sheriff's department through emergency management, if we get that money returned,
They can go into the general.
it'd be a credit, but there's no issue with.
And then in reality, it wouldn't even come back if we agreed to trade maintenance going forward for the same cost. You give us a,
We would
Your
agree
maintenance-
to use the keyloader to encrypt their radio, your department only, because that's the way.
so there wouldn't be money coming back in on that part. It'd just be going forward, would be to have basically we'd have a balance on, yeah.
We balance and it would go against the monthly maintenance.
Right.
Until it's gone, and then you would start paying.
Yeah.
It's just a way for you to recover the fund if you want to.
And you said that'd go for 10 years, you'd do that?
No,
It's fine.
no. Probably about close to two. But we would just. It would be a credit, and each month the credit would eventually go to $0, and then you start being a balance.
Right.
We do this a lot for customers.
And so when you all got together to visit, this is what you,
I don't.
Well, just, yeah, I mean, that was something that was just brought up. We thought we'd just talk about it and see what.
if you had it your way, is this what you would do? Is the key loader we have now a piece of equipment we'll never utilize? And is this a way to get some money back and spend it a better way?
Well, it would benefit sheriff's office.
Okay.
The money's been spent though, right?
That's fair.
So we're just
So
talking
give
about
us a
going
credit.
forward.
Basically, there'd be a transfer of ownership back to them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it. I just
Looking for a
looking
yes
at
or
it
no.
because it got brought up by them and they've said that they're going to. That maybe they could purchase it or do something on it, so.
Even.
So things always change. So in the future, if you ever did need that again, they'd be available to purchase another one. If
Yeah, they can always come back and
something
buy another one, but I
something changed.
can't imagine. These keys, the only time these keys get lost is if you get it, or you need them, if you get a new radio. Or radio gets sent in for repair and comes back blank. And either way, we're gonna see it before you do, so.
And then you'll,
If we don't have that in-house, then what they have to do is they have to bring it over each time when they pick up a new product before it goes back to them. So actually, it's gonna make it better for them in the future.
But you can just go ahead and load it with whatever comes over.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Or if you have one that's got a problem and you come over for service and we have to blanket, we can reload it again.
so I think we understand now, and we're just in general agreement, this is a good idea. Right? And right? Are you guys comfortable?
Yep.
Do we need a motion on this? Just by consensus? I'll make a motion then that we sell our key coder back to Midwest Mobile, and that will have a credit to be used for the sheriff's office for radio maintenance. Is there a second?
And that's for a term of 2 years, did you say?
It will be the dollar amount.
The dollar amount,
And then
okay.
each monthly maintenance will come off of that.
You need the dollar note. That's
Okay, you can give to Nikki 76, 67,
75, 57, 69.
75. 56.
For the first year, it's $4,500 a year, it's $380 a month.
It's a monthly charge.
Okay.
You're gonna get the first year plus some more.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Then is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
I think you can keep part-time assistant over there, if you like to. Nothing but radios in there.
It is not my thing, I think.
Not either, but I understand.
Yeah, we're trying to hire somebody, we ought to do this job. Keep sending them over. Hard to find.
Okay, and you have that, so you.
You do a telescope or something, maybe I can work on it.
Fair enough.
Anything
Okay.
else you need from us, or you want to
Um,
talk about anything else, or?
Well, we've got time. If you have time, we can talk to you. If you had time. And Brandon, are you done?
That's all I had.
And Ernie, you're
I'm
good?
gonna leave these with you,
Okay.
and give me a call when you get a chance to go
All
over.
right, well, we could probably do some of those things.
Okay, this, the one that says I want, this is everything at dispatch. Which is what really needs to be part of the contract. Can we just step out and talk about it? We won't bother.
Sure, do I need to go or can you?
No, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
very
you all.
much. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's good seeing.
I understand you might be in the construction business.
No.
Thank you.
No, sir.
Have a good day.
Whole different life.
Business,
Okay, I was gonna call for executive session with us, the sheriff and the clerk, or non-elected personnel.
You like it hard?
I guess it would be duties. And pay and performance is what I was saying.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, pay and performance for 10 minutes. I was calling for a 10-minute executive session with the three commissioners, the sheriff and the clerk, to discuss non-elected personnel pay and performance. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. 10 minutes. Puts us about one.
I think we're good, unless you need something. We're out of executive session, back into regular with no binding action taken. What would you like? 5 minutes with the same people for the same reason? Okay, I make a motion, we go back into executive session with the same people for the same reason for 5 minutes. Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carried.
Okay, we're out of executive session, back into regular with no binding action taken. All right, thank you for your time.
Anything else, fellas?
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you, guys.
Thanks, John. Have a
Take
good
care.
rest of your day.
You too.
Okay.
Ran everybody.
You didn't, so. All right, okay, let me get back to our agenda here. The first thing I have is the minutes from the 27th of July. Are there any additions, corrections, or comments to the minutes as presented?
I didn't have anything on that.
Bill?
No. No,
No, okay. Make a motion to approve them then?
I move it for the minutes of July 27th, 2026.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second
It's
it.
been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Minutes are approved. Accounts payable for today. Are there any questions or comments here? I wrote one comment to the side, and that was under solid waste. If I did my math right and had them allocated, we had $7,557, $7,712 in backhoe repairs. Does that sound right? And not all of them are labeled, but I just took, there's only one there I didn't quite, it was a brake switch repair in solid waste. I just figured that.
Yeah, so, that backhoe had, we basically called the mechanic on that at least 3 times.
Yep.
And I didn't know what it was gonna be as far as cost until they bill us, but yeah, that sounds.
Yep, we had, so I guess the only reason I put that together was, we just got this one purchased. And the reason you do it is machines don't last forever, I think, right? We don't want something like that. It's a black hole money and then. But they use them and they break down, they need to be fixed, so.
Yeah, and we agreed that in certain types of equipment, that backhoe, with the hours that it has, that's about as much as we probably want to put on a backhoe to get used every day.
Yeah.
Before we look for a way to switch it out, so
And they did get it fixed. I mean, it is running good, so. And what I hope,
hopefully, but part of it was the DEF
right,
system, and as you know, those are ongoing problems.
okay, so, all right, any other thing under accounts payable? And then we'll get to. That
Anybody remember what star programming is?
star program. I saw it.
I wrote it down.
Do you know which specific program you saw it under?
I think it was Road and Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we asked Tammy that question several months ago.
Yeah, see, I
It
can't,
came up.
I can't remember that, so.
you're forgiven. Any other questions, Mr. Pollock?
Nope.
All right. Mr. Tesselberry? No. All right, is there a motion to approve accounts payable for July 31st?
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable for July 31st.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Mrs. Hoskins, how are you? Yes, sorry it took so long.
That's fine.
Only a week.
What?
Only a week.
She was here.
It's your.
She was here.
No,
We were embarrassed to say we didn't know you were out there and then we closed the meeting. I apologize. I want to do it public. You came all the way out here and you didn't get to talk to us.
it really is. First thing I'm gonna say, as a county resident, and especially after listening to the presentation by the city today. Well, little presentation there was, with the high property tax burden on the residents in the county. I would respectfully ask you to vote down the 25-year RHID participation in Hiawatha Housing Project. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat,
All right.
especially after listening to that. Anyway, I'm just here to give you results of our state hearing on our county
Thank you.
home evaluation. We appealed 25 and 26 to the state after appeal with Mr. Markham. So that's the results there, and I kind of tried to outline it. Um. The whole state process, I was very unimpressed with. I just learned today, I think there was another county resident that went to the state with their appeal and kind of got the same runaround I did. Which I will give you this to take and read too. This is just kind of the bullet points from our state appeal of why I was so unimpressed with it. They're not experts on tax valuation, I'm convinced. I mean, it's the Board of Tax Appeal. It's not anything to do with valuations. And the report that we got back after 30 days, she told me it would come within 30 days. It did not. But the report we got back didn't break down anything as far as land, home, and buildings. It just had a little paragraph for Mr. Markham's points that he brought out and a little paragraph for mine. And yes, they did lower it. And it was worth it to do it because they did lower it. You know, you can see there from what he had lowered it. But the whole process was just a joke. And I learned that through this person that went that the same thing happened where they claimed they did not have their paperwork and they did. And they didn't break anything down as far as how they came to their amount. So anyway, you can just kind of read the bullet points there of what happened with our state appeal.
So when you go to Boda
Mhm.
and then they don't rule the day you're there, or do they?
No,
Okay, so then
they
they
have
get,
30 days.
they have 30 days and then do you get that in the mail or do they contact you?
Got it in the mail.
Okay, and so is there any, after that happens, good, bad, or indifferent? Is there any dialogue between the appraiser and you at that point?
Well,
Does Brown County reach out to you?
there's gonna have to be because he said, yeah,
No, I understand that it'll have to be reevaluated.
Right.
And we'll have to write a change order. is
Right.
What happens. But what I'm getting at is in that normal process, does Brown County's appraiser call you and say, okay, we've got it back and this is what it is, or?
I figured I would hear from him right away, and I haven't.
Okay,
We got this back last week.
I see.
They had our hearing was June 16th. The postmark on the date from the state was June 20th. We got it maybe the 25th, 26th, where we actually got in the mail. I've not heard a word from Steve Markham, but I really figured I'd hear something the next day from him or get something in the mail, and I've not received or heard anything.
Okay,
So,
I don't think this happens too often that people actually go to vote. You're one of the first ones that I know. And if you
there must be
somebody
another one,
else, then
yeah.
they're-
yeah.
I told
There was another one that.
And I told them to please come in and give you, their results too. And they weren't aware but I said, just do that and bring the results to the commission.
Yeah, that individual called me afterwards and
okay.
told me about it and was just kind of.
Unimpressed kind of with the whole thing too, and
So Annette, when I look at your numbers, it looks like since you went, there was a fairly significant decrease. Is that right?
yeah. I mean,
As a percentage
To-
basis, yes.
yeah, to my complete satisfaction, no, but yes, I mean, it was worth it to do it. But I would really like to have had that broke down, so
Yeah,
I have
explain.
something to go on when I go into him next year, because I'm certain, because even though he has lowered us, we've done this 4 years in a row, I believe, even though he has lowered it every year for us. Every year, when we get our next one, it's right back up where it was, or it's even higher.
So did you reach back out to Boda then to get some more information?
No, I have not yet.
You plan on?
I can, well, I can go higher and appeal what they did, but then I have to pay money.
Where does it go after that?
They call it the regular taxation division is who you appeal to. This one is under like the civil or the one that doesn't cost you any money. It would cost money, and they've got it all outlined on their website to take it even higher.
The question I'm trying to get at is when I go to the appraiser's office, if I have a question about my property, the first step is to ask the question, and then you have to have that, you schedule an appointment to protest your valuation, and then you get a packet of information.
Right. From
So
the
I was
county.
just curious if maybe if you called back to Boda, since you've been there, maybe you called back and requested and said, hey, I got my values, but I don't know how I got these values.
Right,
Can you
yeah,
send
well,
me
I
some?
will, yeah,
Okay.
I will, I just haven't yet,
Okay.
and I wanted to get that into you, but I will
Okay.
ask them. Because it just had an amount, this is what we came to. This is what he said, this is what your county appraiser said, this is what we think. And those values, and that's all it was. And it had a little paragraph that said, we received a large amount of information from, Mrs. Hoskins, and, I mean, it didn't even break down the information I gave him or really what he gave him. It was just little general paragraphs. And here's the amount we think. This is what we reached in agreement for our hearing.
No reason.
No reasons, nothing broken down as to how they came to that figure.
Okay.
And so are you protesting, is this market ground, what falls under market ground, or is it?
Yes,
Okay.
right.
A portion. $0.
Oh, it all is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2 acres
And,
and a home.
and when you, if I could just ask, when you get your valuation and you protested it, did you base it off of like recent sales in the area, or just how do you?
Well-
go about,
How did I go about
yeah.
my arguments? They send the packet with what they compared you to
Okay,
and which are wildly different, not even close. I mean, out of the last 4 years, there might have been really one comparable that we could have considered was kind of close in comparison. The comparables were,
Who's they?
well, the
appraisers.
appraisal
Okay,
office,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
Most of them are in town, which is a lot different than things out in the country too, but, so I just used that at first and I pointed out every single difference, between that and he would lower it and say, he would agree. I mean, he's even said to us, probably not this appeal, but probably 2 years ago, that he has said that these homes are not worth what we're valued. But he's following the orders from the state. So what they're supposed.
So I see here.
But I compare that and then when that didn't work anymore, because I pointed out that the comparables just are terrible, then he went to a cost analysis is what he told us on the last time, which is just plugging in figures into his computer and the algorithm spits it out. And so then I printed out homes that clearly would cost more than ours to build. So I did that. I went through and found, because it's all available on the website through the county where you can, well, it's not through the county, but where you can find anybody's home and their value. So I printed out homes that were clearly cost more to build than ours that weren't valued as high as ours. So a lot of work, a lot of research.
So when I look at this, you're listing basically 2 years here, but you mentioned you've done this 4 years.
4 years. About
So
4 years.
have you only gone to Boda twice, 2 of the 4?
Yes, just this year. I did 2 years and
Okay.
1 year.
So
Yes.
the previous years, you basically, you protested the valuation.
And
Were
I-
you successful in those 2 years?
Yes, he did with Markham.
Yeah.
Yes, he did lower.
So you've had 4 years in a row
Mhm.
where they've gone back up and then you come back in and they come back down.
Right. They come down. And they're right back up again the next year, or even higher than what they had been. He did tell me, see, we had 2 appeals this year because we were late in paying under protest for 25. So, in the 25 protest this year, which was earlier in March, he got a little aggravated and said about the whole process. And he said that, by coming in and appealing, we're clogging up the system. And he doesn't like that with this appeal process. And he actually said that you're coming in and clogging up my system and I have work to do. I just smiled and said, as a taxpayer in this county, I have every right to come in and appeal my valuation and clog up your system. That's what I'm doing. I go a little bit into the certifications. Well, it's a designation that the county appraisers have, the RMA designation. They are not a certified general real estate appraiser.
Right.
He could not go out for the bank and appraise any single property. So I get a little bit into that.
But on the flip side, the guy from the bank couldn't go out and do massive appraisals. He's just trained in specialized.
I'm glad they can't do that. I mean, I don't, the mass appraisal system has got to, this has got to change. I mean, just plugging in something, he comes to our property once every 6 years. You know, you don't see what's happened in those 6 years, or if there's a decline. That's why I'm saying everybody needs to come in the county and appeal their valuation, because I'm fairly certain that most properties are overvalued. And he's a great participant in that whole system, and he'll tell you, he follows it to the T. He wants to be 100% in compliance with that, what that state is sending him down the pipe to do, and he's at 96%. He takes great pride in, I'm going to do this to the T. Now, I've talked to other appraisers, I've talked to Donovan County appraiser and Mohawk County appraiser, the Donovan County appraiser. Some of the other appraisers have bucked the system a little, you know, and the other information I had given you where it showed that we were third highest in the state as far as rise in valuations. And then also the last one I just gave you that said we were the most unaffordable county in property tax, you know, compared to the per capita income in this county. That all has been greatly affected by what he's doing. I mean, it's also taxing other taxing entities, but this has really driven a lot.
Okay.
What he's doing. You know, when we go in and appeal, he leaves the door open too. I have a concern about that. I went up one of,
Let's just for fun here, as we get, he would be non-elected personnel. So if you got some things you want to tell us, let's just go in the executive session. You don't have to do that? No. I didn't know if. Okay, let me stop for clarification then. I may have stepped on my own.
okay,
So my question was, is if we want to talk about non-elected personnel, a lot of times we have to go into executive session, or we do have to. So my question to you is, if she wants to talk about non-elected personnel, you don't have to. Fair enough. So I can,
so I just
Thank-
come
I
in
should
and
have
voice
asked.
my concerns to you.
I should have asked. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
That,
Continue on like I never
Okay.
said anything.
okay. I do have a little bit of concern about each time we've gone in, the door stays open when you do your appeal. There's people coming in and out of that office, you know, I mean, people, he's right there, you can hear. One other time I went up to the office, his door was closed, and I don't know if he was on a phone call or what, but I think that's kind of unprofessional that when you go in to do your appeal on your home, that he leaves the door wide open, and anybody else that comes into the office can see who's in there or what you're saying, you know? Well, that's another concern I have. Is that standard procedure that he does with everybody? I don't know. Is he afraid of us? But,
Well, I think you could also request, you could say, hey, I'd rather you close the door
Yeah.
because I don't want people hearing what I'm saying. And then if he says no, then we'll address it at that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
I could
Okay.
also see him saying he wanted to leave the door open so somebody can basically, not, and I'm not saying you would, but could say, oh, he said this to me or he said that to me. Maybe he's doing it just to protect.
Well, I wondered about that too. Yeah.
Sometimes too, I know
Make sure they hear what's being said too, but
we've had this policy in the courthouse that we sort of came up with maybe a year ago now, or 6 months ago about, expectations of public behavior. I'm not saying you'd ever fly off the handle, but it does occasionally happen.
Right.
An open door might lend to people behaving themselves.
well, I would say that's probably why,
So,
especially with how worked up some people
but I
get
think,
over the
I think
valuation.
Mr. Tesser, I think Richard's right. I mean, if you want the door shut,
Yeah.
yes, ask, you shut it yourself.
Yeah. I don't know if he could. Seemed like there was I don't know, but, so anyway, that's kind of probably my concerns.
Do you know,
Just
Annette,
like if we hadn't come in, I mean,
have you ever asked the question, Oda? So what I heard was 4 years of doing this. And then it looks like you'll do it again the next year, because the pattern is up, down, up, down, up.
I'll be interested to see what he does on ours next year
That's the
after
question.
going to the
If
state.
voting
Yeah.
So next, I wonder if that has some teeth in it where, maybe there's an asterisk next to your property now that says.
I think,
Wonder.
I don't know. We'll
I don't
find
either.
out.
That would wear a person out, having to do the same thing.
Right.
Or whatever.
I'm thinking it should, but yet then again, that whole procedure was kind of with the mouse too, but. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay.
When the next one comes out.
Okay.
So you're saying you were not impressed with the government board?
No,
That's what you're saying.
yes.
Okay. So I want to make sure I'm
Yeah.
reading you.
And you can read my concerns there. I wrote it out pretty explicitly what happened with the VODA.
It sounded like it was sort of a runaround, but
It was a runaround. I asked to reschedule it because they said we don't have your information, but they wouldn't reschedule it either.
So you requested a in-person hearing?
They don't do in-person hearings. That's what I was told. Yes, it has to be by phone and I didn't like that
To
either.
me, that's a. Good. big
Right.
flag.
And,
Cause you always get more satisfactions talking to somebody in person.
right,
On the phone.
right. And way back when, we never did a state appeal way back when, but we have some friends that have. The county appraiser was not even involved. When you took it to the state, the county appraiser was out of it. You went down, of course, you went in person and you stated your case. The county appraisers, they had the information from what the county appraiser had appraised at, but they didn't get to come in on the hearing and state their case like we did in this hearing. And he was the first one asked to state his case. On both hearings. I just about said, wait a minute. I'm the person appealing here. I should be stating my case first, but anyway. But it amounts to $111,560 in valuation. More he's valued us if we hadn't taken it to the state. So between the 2 years. So that is a significant.
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I did. But it was.
Okay.
And the other thing I would like to say is I did see in the minutes of the paper that he was talking to you about Ryan Jansen and Equitable Solutions. And I would like to ask you to please don't give any more of our taxpayer dollars to Equitable Solution. So that's information, a little bit of information on Ryan Jansen and Equitable Solution, the company Equitable Solution.
Okay.
And how it's all tied into the whole state. And I don't understand why we would need to pay another company to come in and do that again. We've done it once. I would like to thank you for staying revenue neutral for 2027.
Sure.
That's a big deal,
That is a big deal.
It is a big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
especially when I didn't think it would be possible, but I appreciate that very much.
So we got there by just not spending money. It's not just us, everybody
Right.
bought into this thing and it's amazing what you can do when you don't buy a few things.
Yeah.
And we did take the road, chip seal to a 4-year spread versus the 3. So
Right.
there's some savings there too. But yeah, I'm glad you're pleased and we were very pleased also.
Well, there's no R&R hearing.
There's
Just
still
the
budget
budget
hearing,
hearing.
yeah. No, so we saved some money there too. It's $5,000, I think, so.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
Annette, thanks for coming in.
One more thing.
One more thing,
Do we have just one flop camera in Brown County? It's out west.
The only one I'm aware of is on 36 Highway
36.
West of Fairview. There's another one on 36 Highway, but that would be in Donovan County, I believe. That's the one that I've seen.
there's one by hearing.
There's one by Huron. I've seen that, but that's Atchison County.
Yep.
Can I get the contract that the county has?
We don't have
We
a,
don't have-
that's a state. That's
So
a
it's
state
not through the
highway.
county at all.
Yeah. The state has projects that they let, and then they hire subcontractors to go install them, and they enter into an agreement with Fly. And they put them along their right of way
Okay.
on the state.
So a city and a county could enter into a
Right.
contract with, but
But we haven't.
no.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. If we did, I wanted to see that contract, but
Yeah, it's not us.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Dot.
okay. All right. I
Thank
think
you.
that's it.
Okay,
So
so
the only thing I'd like to say is thank you for coming and talking to us, because I've had a lot of people irritated by the process, and I've asked every one of them, would you please come and talk to the commission? Because we need to hear from you.
Mhm.
And you're the first person, you're the only person that's done it.
Well, I hope the other person that Open State, I think they might come in, hopefully, and talk to you too, and give their analysis of what happens.
he was told the same thing. Would you please talk to the commissioners if you have
Oh,
concerns?
Yes, because you did talk to him.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you,
Anyway.
Ned.
okay,
See you later.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's for you. Noxious weed management plan. Here in my hand is the noxious weed management plan. Did everyone read this? Did you go over it? Any questions or comments?
I did go over it. It's,
Eliminating.
I'm choosing my words.
Okay.
Yeah, I went over it. It looks complete and thorough and
Can we make a friendly, well, I guess I wouldn't have to, because is this the official 25 management plan? Like it states? Well, it's dated March 23rd of this year.
but it's for 2025.
But the top of it says the
It's
2026
2026.
national plan. So it doesn't,
You strike that initially.
Okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you didn't. No, go ahead.
Is that something
It was,
part of it?
that was my question is this for 2025 or for 2026?
So it's 2026 management plan. That would be my guess. Looks
Okay.
like the clerk received it on the 29th of this month.
So the state mandates that we have a plan. And that I'm assuming the state mandates that it gets updated each year. Okay, so that'd be my question is when is it due and you know, is it turned in timely or not? I mean, if it is, that's great. So can we forego signing it until the next meeting when we find out a little bit more information, or would that be a problem?
You want to talk to him?
I think we should.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you could literally email them and just say that it got turned in, and the question is what's the date that the state mandates it gets turned in, and then just let them know that it's got two opposing dates. Let them respond.
All right, let's just do some of it, so we're no different. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna put a. Move to next week. Okay, on my list, Nikki, did you have anything on your list that you want to talk to us about? Okay. Yeah, we saw that. Wonderful.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, my question, Brandon, so he got both of these bids, correct? And so I would assume both companies are offering something that he would be happy with. What's is the top bid? Top bid has something about a blade. Which it must not be relevant. Looks like the two tires.
so if they have a new thing, they're gonna have to, they put a rubber scraper on the front.
Yeah.
So then
Right.
new one will have to have a new.
Correct. When the buckets come on from the factory, they don't have it, and if the contractor didn't put it on, he's gonna wanna put it on before he starts using it. It's a wearable edge is what he's wanting to put on.
That's what, okay,
Yeah,
all right, but that doesn't show up. I didn't see that.
the second guy didn't.
He
They
didn't
may not even,
in his bid.
The second guy may not sell those.
Okay, makes more sense, but still, the first bid, you're about 13,400 for 4 tires, and then the second one is 6,550 for all 4 of them. Assuming the quality is the same.
Yeah.
Seems pretty simple. Is there any thoughts, any direction? Kind of with money.
No, I mean, obviously, we have one bid that's substantially cheaper, so. In the future, I guess when people are gonna send stuff like this in, we'll just have them. Put a little explanation by it, because otherwise we ask the questions and we don't know what the answers are without them being here. My gut would be we go with the cheaper bid, and I'm assuming that's okay with him by him sending it in and not putting something, but.
So this one has, it says solid cushion. And all those holes in there, are they,
Mhm.
does that make us flex a little bit or what?
Yeah.
And is the other one's not that?
The other ones are just a different style. I don't, the bid is not for the exact product,
Right.
so.
I'm just gonna call him, see if he answers.
And are the fire sizes don't seem like they quite correspond.
Hey, Brandon, it's Lucas. Hey, we're in the meeting. Put you on speakerphone, and we're looking at these tires. Okay, 2 different bids. I see one of them has this blade for the bucket. They explained that to me. And then are the tires, are we comparing like products here between the 2 companies, or if we're not, what's the differences?
They're both solid rubber tires. We've never actually had McLaren before. But we were willing to give them a shot for that price. Yes. I mean, that includes everything, the 6550.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're exactly the same tire.
Well, the sizes are different for sure.
The sizes are different. Yeah, the second tires I think were wider than we needed. When they give us that bit, because last time we had to use a saw on kind of cut off the edges of the tire.
Okay.
It's not good.
Okay.
So I think the thinner tires are going to be a better bet for us.
Okay.
That's the second one?
The second tires, yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
better?
yeah, that's the McLaren's.
Okay.
Yep.
So did you, go ahead.
No, I just said, and then, I don't know if they make a blade or not. I was gonna find out. I just got busy. Might find out if they make a blade and they can maybe send that too.
Okay.
And if they don't, Brandon, you can get those blades from the local guys here in town too.
Oh, they have the, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That'd work out. But yeah, we're willing to give those tires a try because it's such a good deal.
Well, if that price, if they wear out a little earlier, they're still much cheaper. So I guess you give it a shot and see how they wear, then we'll know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they're supposed to be a softer tire, softer ride tire too, with those holes all in them.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay.
that's it. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. All right, then you want to make a motion about the tire. I'll move, we purchase the tires, for the new backhoe at the transfer station from McLaren in the amount of $6,550 for all 4. Is there a second?
With free shipping,
With free shipping. Is there a second?
second day.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. And you made the recommendation to find the blade at the edge. Yeah, local. So good deal. You heard it, so we'll roll on. Okay, anything else? She sent us an email with.
I was just gonna give them a list of Jerry Broughton.
Thanks for coming in. I'm sorry I didn't see you.
We didn't say that.
This is not a complete list by any means, but. And I tried to put like which district it was in, but I hurried and did it, so. But that's just been the list that And some of this, I believe they've started on, but most of it.
Okay, so this list is work that needs to be done. It was damage caused by the storm.
Correct. And I gave a copy of this to Brent.
Okay, and because they're trying to work on this, they're not doing our normal maintenance that needs to be done in the summertime. And we're worried that they're gonna end up running out of daylight, warm weather.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we're not there yet to that point, but you know, you can only hot patch in certain temperatures.
Yeah, no, I understand. So,
So-
if. So I had posed a question to Nikki about getting contractors to come in. And, you know, typically what we would be doing is getting bids for everything, and that's pretty arduous right now. I don't think you're gonna get contractors going, yeah, let me get 3 bids on some of this little stuff. So she looked up and there's basically, it looks like, it appears to me that we can perform some of this emergency work without having to get
The three
the 3 bids.
following the
Right.
purchase.
And
So it's not an emergency or it was.
Yeah, well, the services, that's a whole different thing. That's when you're trying to buy a product that's sole source, nobody else makes it. So if we wanted a system and there is only one person that supplies it, we can't get 3 bids. And so that's really common with county and city agencies. But the one I was looking for is there's some projects that we can clearly identify that the damage was caused by the storm. And that we're having trouble getting all this stuff fixed in a timely manner. Can we go out and have a local contractor fix some of the smaller stuff without having 3 bids? You know, obviously, there's a bunch of items here. I don't know if any of these fall into that or not. But there's specifically the one I was looking at was at the country club where that tube was completely jammed and it's taken out their driveway and they went in there and they've done a Band-Aid, so.
And I did. I mean, we have those 18 by 22. Or 18-inch and 24.
Right.
Tubes, so. Jerry also brought a list of all the tubes. I had sent him a piece of paper for each district, just so I could match it up with my computer, because my computer has it separated by district, who has what. And bless his heart, he decided to put it all on one list. But that doesn't help.
So have them redo the list.
I am, but you know, that's gonna go over.
Have them call.
But John, I sent John with the 2 inventory sheet. He was gonna review his piece.
Okay.
Is now the time to correct that, so we don't have them listed by district anymore since they sort of went away? Well, what I mean is
Yeah.
when he recounts.
Well, that was kind of my question though, because if we're going to continue keeping tubes of each one. That's completely fine, because that's how I have it split up by where they are.
The only reason we're doing that is geographically, they're easy to get to.
Right. Because I mean, if you're, you know, west of Fairview,
Right.
you're gonna waste time
Right,
driving clear
exactly.
back to Hiawatha.
It's strategically placed. I
Yeah.
understand.
And you need it separate so you know where we're at.
Right,
Okay.
so I still have them separate, you know, I,
So why don't we just, instead of calling them districts, why don't we call them location, like Hiawatha, Portland, and Fairview?
okay.
Okay.
How about we just say where they are and not say this?
No, that's fine. Words
That's
have,
what I just said.
words have power. Yeah, and that is what he just said, actually. Just what he said. I have to. He's right on this one. I'd agree with you if you were correct, but in this case, it didn't work out. Okay,
So can I just clarify, our dollar amount, the threshold that requires us to go get 3 bids is what dollar amount?
Anything over.
I'm sorry? Over 5,000.
Informal bid, you know.
Tim, have we ever solicited bids by machine hour? From private contractors, you know, like a backhoe costs us this much, you know, truck costs us this much, anything like that? Would that work in this situation?
So when I originally was going around and talking before I was here, I had asked the local contractors, some of the local contractors, if they'd be willing to just kind of have a rate sheet so we know. And there wasn't one that said no. We just haven't gone back and done that.
So I wondered in an instance like if you just pick this first one on the list, that 250 West Side clean debris. I mean, if we knew that John Smith would run his backhoe for $125 an hour. And he was a low bid, you know, as far as backhoe work, we could just use John Smith to do that. And then if the next one needed an excavator and the next guy, we just use the next cheap. Does it make
Mhm.
It
sense?
does make sense on going forward on that. All of this work, from what I understand, was clearly caused by the storm, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so my question is how do we get the guys caught up and help them get caught up? And hopefully we're gonna receive FEMA money. It looks like we will. We can't guarantee it. But how do we get this work done without going out to bid on every line item here with 3 contractors? Because that's not gonna work. Just the amount of work it would take to do that, because everybody's gotta go see what it is. I just don't think a lot of people that are busier say, yeah, let me go be one of 3 to go clear out a little bit of brush. So the idea is. Okay,
Exactly.
right, and I believe, Nikki, looking at all this, I don't think there's one item on here that's gonna be,
Individually.
that's gonna be that much.
5,000. I didn't either.
right. Okay. And the other reason I was wanting to do this was because then we clearly have backup to our cost on some of this stuff. So when FEMA does come back, we can clearly say, yeah, we were expending money on storm damage. Otherwise, we got to go back into our records and our diaries, and we've got to put amounts, if they come back and say, we'll release the money, but show backup that you did the work. So.
Well, then how do we tie into local contractors, let them know we're interested in understanding what it would cost to actually do the work? How do we reach out? How do we do?
I think we reach out to a local group of contractors that we know that are already doing work for the county, and we say we have X amount of items. Are you interested in doing any of this work for us?
Since it's FEMA, do we use FEMA rates on the machines, would you think? Because they always seem to be pretty healthy. Just a question.
So for instance, if we have a situation at the country club where that tube is completely taken out, it's no longer functioning. And when I went and met with the maintenance guys there, they were complaining that this has been an ongoing problem for quite a while. Every time we get a big storm, it fills up and takes out their driveway. In that instance, when I met with Jerry, he said, you tell me what you want me to do first, because he's busy doing other stuff. And I said, okay, what if we had a contractor do it? And he said, that'd be great. We'll supply the tube if you can get a contractor. So I asked the contractor that does the maintenance for them. They provided a quote. That quote got turned into Nikki today. She didn't have time to get it to you guys yet, but it came in much lower than I anticipated, much lower than our threshold. And in that instance, if we have the authority, I'd like to move and say, let's get that thing fixed, give them the tube and move on and start shipping some of these off.
Sounds fine to me.
As long as we're not doing anything that we're not authorized to do. Yeah, it's a $850 amount to do it. That seems pretty reasonable.
To tear out the old one, install the new one, pack it back in.
Yep, and grade it. And it's also being done by the contractor that does all their maintenance out there. So they shouldn't have any complaints, right? Yes, they're guys. So I think.
And it would be reimbursable by. You provided the money goes.
Provided we get money from FEMA, and we don't know how much we're gonna get back, but we should get some money back. There's no doubt that Brown County had the brunt of the storm in the state. I don't anticipate them saying, we're not gonna give anything back. It's just always, do you get what you're asking?
Is the county involved in it at all other than loading the tube on the trailer,
Providing the tube.
but not driving it to the south, just.
I didn't ask, but it sounded like they would be willing to take their truck over and get the tube.
Yeah, and usually they can just drop it in the ditch then. For the, whoever's putting it down.
They won't even need that.
Given
because
the
contractor has a load.
circumstances and the intention, what we're trying to do is.
Oh, so the contractor's gonna go load it?
The way I understood it.
Okay.
Trying to get caught up on storm damage. Yeah, I think in an effort to get this thing started, we should, if we can do it, and if you're comfortable with that amount of money, why don't we just start there? At the country club, and what, is that on this list? Only,
No,
No,
it's not, okay,
I don't see it on here.
I don't know that.
I don't know what street it is.
It turns into, it's Seventh Street in town, but it turns into Linden.
Yeah, it's Wyndham Road, I know that, yeah, okay. Well, so you have a quote, and it falls with underneath our threshold for competitive bids, and we think it's a reasonable amount of money. Do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah.
To get started, do you think it's reasonable?
I think that way reasonable for.
We can just vote on, approve it and go on.
I think so.
Okay, can I? When you are done, I just look at it and we'll make a motion with the.
Oh, he's saying 15-inch too.
He's not supplying the tube. He thought, he didn't know if it's 15 or 18. But we're
Okay.
gonna supply him the right. Also, Tammy went and talked to the ACS office. And got the amount of flow that goes down that ditch, so we're gonna put the right size tube back in. Whether it was 15 or 18, we're gonna put the right size. Based off of the flow.
You said an 18 would be fine. But why not put the 24 in? Just to be sure.
So I
Or
wanted
when
a little
we
bit of
get this.
we have both of them. What I wanted a little bit of clarification is in that particular location. The water would be flowing back to the north. Through that too, okay? And when he said how many acres it drained, he mentioned 2 driveways, and my thing was, well, that tube would take. It's flowing this way, so it's actually draining more acres than he thought, so we'll put the 24-inch tube and we'll be fine based on his recommendation.
On his recommendation.
The ASCS
I
office.
had him look up at what it drains,
All right.
and this has been a tube that's been a problem for a long time, and so let's fix it right.
Cause he said if we were going back south, we would need, cause when he first called me, we're gonna need a 10-foot tube, and I said, a what? I thought he was talking about under the drive, and I said, we're gonna need what? And all I could think in my head was dollar signs.
Yeah.
And then he misunderstood me, that I was just talking about the driveway. I said, like if you're going to eat at the clubhouse or you're going to the golf cart shack.
Yeah.
So will this bid change since it's a 15-inch tube versus 24? They do a little more digging.
I can ask him. I really don't think it will.
Okay. And so then I'll make a motion then.
One more question.
Yeah.
So it's 60 foot long. Is it 2 driveways or?
No, it's just a long drive. It's a wide driveway there.
Seem like I'm putting 42 in for semis, something, aren't we?
What?
40 foot.
We're going back with what's there,
Okay,
so
Yeah,
I
but-
definitely don't want to
that's
narrow
okay.
it.
So we'll have 2.
30 foot. too.
Because
Yeah.
they already were having trouble with one end being caved in.
Right.
on
Okay.
it.
So we'll have 2 30-footers and a band to hold them together.
Correct.
And then this takes care of the installation. Well, I'll make a motion we approve this bid with J&B Contractors to assist with storm damage and replace the tube at the country club.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Do we understand what we're doing here? We're providing the tubes. We're paying them for land. Okay. If not,
Bill's gonna
then
go dig out the old tube.
All right.
What?
it says remove and replace
Or-
the tube
On Linden Road.
on Linden Road. So we've got it. It's been moved and seconded. We all understand. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. There's that. That's good. One all. So we're talking about machine rates. So I asked that question and I never got it answered. And I could have missed it, but does that make any sense to have?
No, it definitely does, because it's very similar to what we did with snow removal. We went out, local contractors, and said, what would, what would be a fair rate? We just established a fair rate. We know what they're gonna charge. We could have the same done for excavator, backhoe, various types of equipment on hand, and they could give us a quote saying, we can provide that for a day operated, and then we'd know at least.
Okay.
So,
You think some of these projects, would it help if we say we paid somebody, because our guys are going different directions, we paid somebody to run their excavator. And our guys would be in the truck then, to haul them, and would they work in tandem, work together?
I would sure think so.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so
I mean, I can't answer for these guys, but I can't imagine a contractor saying, if you hire me with my equipment, I won't load into your dump truck and your guy won't haul. It just doesn't.
well, like if we're bringing dirt to them,
Right.
all these needs fill, what if we just have to bring
100%.
dirt and they pack it in? So how do we get the rates?
So what we would call that, it'd be called a time and material rate. So we would be asking them for what they would be willing to work. We're basically covering,
But are we getting the dirt and hauling it to
it
it?
would always be, it's never gonna be the same thing. What he's saying is sometimes maybe our guys would be doing the trucking and they would be doing the digging to save time, especially in an emergency. Because that's what really this is. We're not necessarily we're not asking them to do just the normal maintenance. We're asking them to get caught up with a lot of stuff that was thrown on us because of the
Yeah.
storm. And you could tell by Jerry when he was in here the other day, he seemed a little frustrated because he feels like he's spending a bunch of time on here and he's not doing his asphalt and all that.
I mean, I guess what I would do is reach out to the Rosenberger that you had in your hand there and all the other guys and crews that we know around the county, just ask them, would you be interested in an hour, you said time and materials, like an hourly rate? That the county would reimburse you for helping us with this storm damage, and we've got several different places to go, and and every situation would be different, because like you said, some days they would dig, some days they would haul, some days they might pack, who knows, we just. If they wanted to get in our what do you call it? Quiver, I guess,
Yep.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Anything else?
No.
No, I mean, really, or you just want to get out of here now? I would ask about those signs at Padonia. The presentation last week.
Yes.
So I made just a few calls and it seems to me to be a lot of money for something, and the necessity of it is questioned. And I think maybe we could go around it a cheaper way.
Okay.
That was just something I wanted to invite, but you brought him out, and I mean, that is a really neat setup. But it is $27,000, even if we only had to pay 25%, it's still a chunk of money.
Right.
There's also, though, in that quote, there is similar ways to do that exact same thing with the single beacons, which
Right.
provide a lot of advance notice in the dark.
Right.
So if we have, that's why I was saying, do we have areas that are constantly causing our guys to go out and repair stuff because people are running over signs or whatever? That's where I would look at it and say, hey, we can prevent damage to our infrastructure by putting up a single sign with no subscription. It's going to flash for quite a few years off of solar, doesn't require any other infrastructure. And those were we're probably looking at 2,500 to 2,800. So if we have an unsafe location, those work really well. Even at that location, one of those is advance warning. You come in there in the middle of the night and you see that light flashing.
Well,
It's gonna slow down people unless they're intoxicated.
I didn't realize there were no chevrons out there.
Right. And that would be the other thing is, why are there none? I mean, that's a really simple thing to do too. Right? Chevron signs, a 30 by 30 Chevron sign, it's probably 65 to 85 bucks.
Yeah.
So at the very least, we know of a problem out there. We should at least act and put a couple of Chevron signs out
So
there.
an advanced warning sign, the chevrons, and then across the tracks, and the same thing in reverse.
Yeah.
Okay, and we could leave it sit for a while as far as the flashing.
Right, absolutely. But that's a great thing to have. That flashing beacon is a great thing because maybe we do not have those areas. But if we have areas where I remember a location I think you might have went and looked at where people were driving and running into a guardrail out in Robinson. right?
Oh.
So if it's causing us money to have the guys go out and fix something, those are the areas we put those in and prevent it from happening as much.
And like at Bedonia, the guys say, well, that's the railroad's guardrail.
Okay.
So
But
do we
the-
just leave it damaged and just?
I was
leave
gonna
it
say,
sit?
here's the problem with it. We have a county road that county residents drive down that are running into a guardrail that we don't own. Okay, but we know about it. If we can mitigate that from happening for a few $100s in signs, why wouldn't we do that?
And I get that, I agree.
Yeah.
So. I'm just asking, do we just leave the guardrail crumpled up and sitting there?
Is it not functional at all?
I think it's just damaged on one end where somebody's hit it when they went off the road.
Yeah.
You know, I shouldn't laugh at it.
So what, if you go through my question was, if there was no guardrail, is a steep ditch, I mean, you're going into a ditch,
There is a guardrail.
but if there,
Is there a ditch behind it?
yeah,
Is there a big ditch there?
There's a drop off.
Yeah, it's not a huge, like.
So I guess-
crevice.
either make it so you can drive through it, or mark it good, so you.
I think the gist of this conversation is when you talk to Jerry next, we need to put some sign, or I can talk to him.
Thank you.
We'll just can we put some chevrons up?
Sure.
In the advanced early warning? And then if
Oh.
we decide at a later date, we want to put the bright lights on,
Yes.
we can come back to it.
Putting chevrons and a warning light, or just a chevron?
Just a sign.
A sign is
It
just,
says curbs ahead.
yeah, curve ahead.
Okay,
Exactly.
so last night I was going down county line road. Going to 170th, where it goes around the creek. There was like 3 signs there. I mean, it's a kind of a short corner too. And I thought that was good, so that's what you're talking about, I think.
Right.
So I think that it's out there and I think it's been working there, so I think.
Okay, I'll talk to him. I'll call Jerry. I talked to him this morning, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later. Okay.
Thank you, Tammy.
While we're on roads,
You're welcome.
I got a call from a friend of mine down by Everest, and he rode over that microsurface road in Atchison County, the 294th and Greeley, and was very, well, he's a perfectionist, but he was very displeased in what happened. And even the words where you dodged a bullet by doing, so. The road under the structure of the road was bad and the stuff's starting to crack, and he says it'll come, when it comes off, it's gonna come off in sections. So,
Well, we made the right decision by saying, let's go talk to people that have had it done and see how well it's.
from the 65 mile an hour, it looks real nice, but when you get out on it, it's split and cracked and it's, anyway. So there was that. Did we, in last week's minutes, we had our solid waste policy about removing items. Is there any other discussion about that at all that we need to talk about at this point? Okay, good enough. And then in front of me here, we got an email with the statute from that Nikki sent about this weed management plan. It says by March 15th of each year, the weed supervisor shall prepare and submit a management plan for the coming year to the Board of County Commissioners for approval and to the Secretary for review. So my assumption is well, for the coming year, my guess would when I think of weed super, that means the coming summer growing season. I figured March 15th would be for the year you're in, right?
Yep.
But I don't know.
would do this.
So that's another question we probably ought to ask him. You know, I think, and maybe that's why it's signed in March. I don't know.
Ah,
Okay,
how did that come to us, Nikki? Was that sent via email to you? When did he hand that to you?
July 29th.
Okay, because it's like you said, it's signed March. Okay.
All right, I have checked off everything on my list. Bill, what do you got for us?
There's I didn't see this thing from the KNRC,
Oh,
but it looks like we can discuss that later.
so the KNRC thing, it comes with a video we're supposed to watch.
Okay,
And so we got that. We're just gonna table that.
okay.
Take care of it.
I just saw it here now, so.
Probably the 10th, I think. Is that the Monday meeting? we're gonna try to keep our next Monday morning, our next Monday meeting is in the morning. So on Monday, the 3rd of August, we're gonna have our meeting at 8:10. And that's to accommodate election. Okay. So we really won't probably take the time to look, if you want to read the video, and if you, I guess everybody does.
8:10.
If you have time to watch the video over the weekend and feel like you're prepared to act on Monday, we can just sneak it in. It's no big deal. So,
It's just so, I mean,
okay, anything else?
please don't.
Got you.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, well, we've exhausted our agenda for today. We still have work session, but we're gonna be done at 3:30. So I would, if we're done, I would entertain a motion to adjourn and move into our work session.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion and then you seconds it. And is there any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, meeting adjourned. Take a little recess here. And we got 20